guys, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Jennifer Hawe. So on today's video, I'll be sharing another story with you guys, and I hope you'll be able to pick a thing or two from this story. So once upon a time, there was a young man whose name was Kofi. Kofi was having a toothache, and he kept on taking antibiotics and trying to manage it conservatively, but it didn't work out. So at some point, he decided to visit a patent drug seller. These people that sell drugs by the roadside. On getting there, the patent drug seller offered to yank out the offending tooth, and Kofi agreed and allowed this guy to take out his tooth. He probably felt momentary relief, but that was the beginning of his problem. On getting home, he started feeling more pain, and the pain got increasingly worse as the days went by. It happened that the extraction socket got infected, right? And the infection spread from the extraction socket to his throat. So Kofi could not swallow, he could not eat, he could even barely talk. So Kofi was rushed down to the hospital as an emergency, and a nasogastric tube had to be passed from his nose to his stomach so that food or fluid can actually get into his belly. It was so bad. He had abused the regularly available antibiotics, so he had already developed resistance to them. So he had to be placed on other antibiotics, the ones he had not abused, and these ones were relatively more expensive. In fact, it got so bad that he had to be scheduled for a surgery, and the rest is history. Now there are so many Kofis out there who would rather do any other thing other than visiting the hospital. I understand that finance is a challenge. I understand that sometimes, we try to save money or we just want a quick fix. But the truth is that when it comes to healthcare, good healthcare, proper healthcare, there are no shortcuts to it. It doesn't even make sense to me that you would allow someone who is not a professional to carry out such a delicate procedure on you. Don't you like yourself? Even if he was doing it for free, even if he offered to help you out and not let you pay, why would you do that? Right? Is it that people who go to school to study these things for 6 years and above, they don't know what they're doing? Or a council, the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, that has a body that has to offer you a license before you can practice, they don't really have sense. They don't know that you can learn it in 6 months under your Oga. Do you understand? It would never make sense to me. And most of these kofis are, and I hope I'm not sounding judgmental, it's just it aches me. It makes me feel really uncomfortable. I don't know how to express it. So that's probably why I'm sounding the way I'm sounding. And the problem is that in a bid to save money, you end up spending more money. It's more like penny wise, pound foolish, because you're trying to save money. You've been getting these drugs, over the counter medications. You've gone to this patent drug seller, but the problem is not being solved, and it's getting worse. So now, when he got to the hospital, of course, he has to pay for admission. He had to pay for other treatment that had to be offered to him, medications as well. I told you he had to also get more expensive medications, and these things could have been avoided if he came straight to the hospital the moment he started feeling the pain or discomfort, right? So it's just a little bit annoying. I find it very annoying because you cannot. The other day I went to fix my tablet. It was bad, and the guy was fiddling with it. He opens here. I'm like, okay, what are you doing? He said that he's coming. He wants to check. I'm like, okay, thank you very much for your efforts. Just couple it back and give it to me. I'm going to pay you. Don't worry. I'm going to give you something for your efforts. E for effort. Thank you very, very much. And I carried my tab and I came back home, right? And this is just a gadget, right? It could get damaged or anything. How much more your life, crying out loud? And then this brings me to another incident. There was this other woman whose daughter was having a toothache as well, and it was bad. Like the infection has spread from the tooth to her throat as well, and it had eaten up the skin. It was really, really bad. It was bad. But like when I say bad, I'm not exaggerating. It was smelling terribly. The skin had eaten up. You could see inside her throat from. And I'm like, Madam, how can you keep your daughter at home with this condition? Like, don't you like your daughter? How can you do that to her? Like, because if I didn't even want to believe it was her biological daughter, because it didn't make sense to me that you'd have someone in that condition and you leave the person and you're like, we don't de waka, we don't go this place, go this place. Well, you can come to the hospital. Like, why are you going to different places? Why didn't you come to the hospital? It was a good Samaritan, like someone who saw her that said, okay, let's bring you to the hospital. And they eventually came to the hospital. And there are so many cases like that. And I don't know how to make it make sense to me. And then some other people, they will now tell you that the reason they didn't come to the hospital was because someone told them that once you're having a toothache and you come to the hospital, the doctor is going to take out your tooth. I don't know where they got that information from, but at least in my period of practice, tooth extraction has never been the first thing you do for a person who has a toothache. It has never been the first line of action. It has never been the first treatment plan to take out the person's tooth. Yes, sometimes they eventually have to take out the tooth, maybe because he has progressed beyond the point where it can be managed clinically, or maybe it's going to cost you a lot of money to treat the tooth. So most people who cannot afford it just opt for an extraction, right? But that is not to say that anytime you come to the hospital with a toothache, they're going to take out your tooth. And you don't even have to wait for you to have frank pain, like very intolerable pain, for you to come to the hospital. The moment you start feeling any discomfort on your tooth, that is the time you should visit the dentist. In fact, the moment you start feeling shock, or you take water and you feel shock, or you take orange, you take fruit juice, you take sweet things, and you start feeling shock, you know, any form of discomfort on your tooth, that is the time you should come to the hospital. Not when you have taken all the painkillers, abused all the antibiotics, and then you're coming for magic to be done. No, it doesn't work like that. So this brings me to another part, which is people who stuck in trade is to give advice, right? You're not a professional, this is not your field, but you have a solution for everybody's problem, right? Someone is having a toothache, go and get hydraulic, put it inside. Someone is having headache, no, don't take painkiller, get kola nut, grind it, boil it in hot water, add bitter leaf to it, drink it. They have a solution to every problem. I'm not concerned about these people. I'm more concerned about people who pay attention to them. Because when you ask people, what is your source? How did you come up with this sense? You hear things like, now waiting they tell me. That is, someone said it to me. And it's probably what their great grandmother told their grandmother, who told their mother, and then the mother has told them. So they just keep passing it from one generation to another. And all these things are unfounded, right? So I don't know how much, I don't know how I can say this thing to make it make sense. That when you need healthcare, if your car is bad, you're going to visit a mechanic. So why is it that when you're sick, you do not want to visit a doctor? Why do you have to go to your next door neighbor to ask for solution to a problem when you know exactly where you can get the solution to this problem? And sometimes people are just trying to help you. It's not like they have bad intentions, but because their knowledge is limited, they can only give you what they have. They can only share an information that they are exposed to. They just tell you, okay, this is what they know, and to the most of their knowledge, that's the best thing they can do for you. And then you fall a victim of actually taking that advice and going on to work with it. Even in the hospital, if you go to a hospital and you feel like you don't trust the competence of the person treating you, you can leave. You don't have to stay in a place where you don't trust the competence of the physician or whoever it is that is managing you. So why would you now go on to take an advice from somebody and then you feel compelled to utilize that advice? And this has to do with your life. I also agree that accessing healthcare, especially in government hospitals, can also be a bit stressful, a bit tedious. It's not so straightforward. But at the end of the day, it's still better than staying back at home. At least you're certain that at the end of the day, someone is going to attend to you and you're likely going to get a solution to your problem. But staying back at home and trying out all the self-help tips that are available isn't really going to solve the problem. I don't think I've sounded this serious or intense in any of my videos. But you get my point, right? And I mean, life is very delicate. For as long as we are going to stay here, I think we should just do the best we can do for ourselves. So, if you're watching this video right now, the least you can do is to share this video with someone who you care about, somebody who you know would benefit from the information in this video, and break the cycle of wrong information that is being spread out there. Don't be like Kofi and save some other person from making the kind of mistake Kofi has made. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I know you found it very insightful and helpful. See you all in my next video. If you have any question, please leave it in the comment section below, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, feel free to do that and turn on the notification bell so you get notified every time I post new videos. Take care of yourself and live a healthy and wholesome life. See you all in my next video. Bye.